Please subscribe my channel. I never meant to destroy my marriage with just one sentence. It wasn't something I had practiced or hidden in my heart, waiting for the perfect moment to let it out. It slipped out messy, thoughtless, dripping with booze and pride. The instant the words left my lips, I felt something inside us break forever. It was that heavy, sinking feeling in your gut before your mind even understands what happened, like the floor suddenly dropping out from under you. My name is Jessica. I'm 34 years old. Until that night, I truly believed my marriage to Michael was strong. Not fairy tale perfect, not like the movies, but steady the way grown-up love is supposed to feel. We had been together for 11 years and married for 8. We had our little routines, our inside jokes, a house payment, and a quiet understanding that we were on the same team, even when life felt boring or hard. That night started out harmless. It was a friend's birthday party at a busy bar in Boston. Loud music, cheap drinks, everyone having fun. Michael didn't want to come. He had to work early the next morning and said he was tired. He told me to go have fun and not to worry about rushing home. I promised I'd be back by midnight and told him not to wait up. It seemed fair. I ended up going with some people from work, coworkers I saw every day but didn't really know outside the office. There was a lot of laughing, shots I definitely didn't need, and compliments I hadn't heard in a long time. Someone said I looked incredible. Another person said Michael was a lucky guy. I laughed way too loud at jokes that weren't even funny. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt light and alive. By the time Michael showed up without telling me, I was way past my limit. I spotted him by the bar, still wearing his jacket, with that familiar worried look on his face. He wasn't mad. That's what made it worse. He just looked out of place, like he had walked into a version of me he didn't know anymore. He leaned close and quietly asked if I was okay and if I wanted to go home. I should have said yes. I should have smiled, thanked him for coming to get me, and taken his hand. Instead, I rolled my eyes. I laughed and told him he was overreacting. We stepped outside to talk. The air was cold, full of cigarette smoke and the sound of cars driving by. He told me he felt stupid standing there while I ignored him all night. He said he hardly recognized me. His voice wasn't loud, just tired and hurt. And that's when I said it. I don't even remember exactly how it came up. I just remember feeling defensive and embarrassed in front of my coworkers. I wanted to hurt him enough to make him stop talking. So I blurted out, maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't have to get this drunk just to feel something. The silence that followed was total. Michael didn't yell. He didn't fight back. He just looked at me, really looked, like he was seeing a stranger wearing my face. I had never seen that look on him before. It was part shock, part acceptance, like something inside him quietly gave up. He nodded once and said, okay. Then he turned and walked away. No big scene. No last angry words. He just put his hands in his pockets, shoulders slumped, and disappeared down the street. I stayed at the bar. I drank more. I laughed even louder. I kept telling myself I didn't really mean it and that he knew that. But every time my phone lit up, my heart stopped, and it was never him. I got home around 3 a.m. The house was dark and too quiet. His shoes weren't by the door. His phone charger was gone from the nightstand. I stood there in my heels, makeup ruined, head spinning. For the first time all night, real fear cut through the alcohol. I checked the guest room, empty. I checked the garage, his car was gone. I texted him, I'm so sorry. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. Please. No answer. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, seeing his face again and again. Not angry, not even hurt anymore. Just done. Like a light inside him had turned off. Morning came with a terrible hangover, but the guilt was so much worse. The house felt wrong, like someone had already moved out even though everything was still in its place. At 9 a.m., my phone finally buzzed. One message from Michael, we'll talk later. I need some space. That should have calmed me down, but it didn't. Deep down I knew the space I had just created might be huge, and I had no idea how far it would stretch. Michael didn't come home that night or the next. He stayed with his brother because he needed quiet to think. I told myself that was normal. I told myself marriages survive worse things than a drunken insult. People cheat and still fix things. People say awful stuff in fights and make up later. It was just one sentence, one bad night. But some sentences carry the weight of truths we've been ignoring for a long time. When we finally talked, it wasn't dramatic. No crying, no yelling. We sat at the kitchen table like two polite strangers discussing something fragile. Michael looked worn out, older than his years. He didn't ask why I said it. He asked if I actually meant it. I tried to blame the alcohol, the pressure, my stupid need to feel exciting again. I told him I loved him. I told him he wasn't boring. The words felt weak even to me. He listened. He always listened, then said something I still hear in my head. You didn't say anything new, Jess. You said something you've been thinking for long enough that you didn't care how much it hurt me. I wanted to argue. I wanted to deny it. But I stayed quiet, and my silence said everything. He told me he had felt invisible for a long time. He noticed how I came alive around other people and went flat around him. That night embarrassed him, but it also made things clear. He said he didn't want to be someone I just put up with out of habit while secretly wishing he were more exciting. We tried counseling, not because he begged, but because he believes in doing things the right way, even endings. I went because I was terrified of losing him, not because I fully understood what I had broken. That difference turned out to matter a lot. In therapy, I saw things about myself I didn't like. How often I brushed him off. How quickly I used sarcasm as a weapon. How I confused comfort with boredom and blamed him for my own restlessness. Michael admitted his faults too, but there was a quiet certainty in his voice, like he was already 1 foot out the door. Going out drinking stopped being fun. Every night out reminded me what it had cost us. Every quiet evening at home felt heavier than any crowded bar ever had. I apologized over and over. Some apologies help. Others just highlight the wound. 3 months after that night, Michael told me he wanted to separate. He said it gently, like he hated hurting me even then. He needed to figure out who he was without always waiting for the next disappointment. I didn't fight him. Not because I didn't love him, but because I finally understood that my love wasn't enough anymore. 6 months later, we sold the house in Portland, split everything fairly. No lawyers, no anger, just a deep, quiet sadness that hung between us like dust. The day he moved out for good, he hugged me longer than I expected. He said he hoped I found whatever I was looking for that night at the bar. I told him I hoped he found peace. Sometimes I replay that moment outside the bar. I imagine stopping myself. I imagine choosing kindness instead. But life doesn't give rewrites. The sentence didn't end our marriage by itself. It just exposed a crack that had been growing slowly for years. The alcohol only removed my ability to keep pretending it wasn't there. Michael is dating someone now, someone calmer, sweeter, who laughs at his quiet jokes without needing more. He told me himself, not to hurt me, but to close the chapter. I'm truly happy for him. As for me, I'm learning something I should have known all along. Love isn't about constant excitement. It's about care, respect, and choosing words that protect someone instead of tearing their sense of safety apart. That night, I chose carelessness over kindness, and sometimes that's all it takes to lose everything.